The Last of Us Episode 7. Well, I'm going to be honest. One I could have completely did without. This is the low point of the season for me. It offered nothing to the story, nothing that, you know what? I don't need to know things about Ellie because I didn't care. Now you just did an hour and some change of me watching something that really has nothing to pushing on the story. The best highlights of this episode were with Joel and Ellie. I did not care about Riley. I did not care about where Ellie came from. I didn't care about their love story. Nothing. And I'm mad about that. I truly am. And if I'm not mistaken, this has been the lowest reviewed episode of the season of the series thus far. And I can't disagree. I thought it was just not a waste of time. It wasn't like bad enough for me to turn it off, but I truly think that it was not necessary, and I think it was a filler episode I just didn't need in a 9-episode season. I did not need a filler episode.
So, okay, I completely disagree. But
of course you
the
do.
One thing I will agree with is the fact that we only have 2 episodes to tell a lot more of the story. You don't know this because you don't know what's coming. But I know that they have a lot to get in 2 episodes.
Okay.
So
That's disheartening.
I'm just a little bit worried about like how they're going to because the end of the season is a huge climax, and it's like, how are we going to do that? Okay. And make it make sense. I would love to know whether or not the last 2 episodes are longer than an hour. That would be if they were like an hour and 20 minutes apiece. I'd feel like, okay,
basically
that's great.
2 episodes to tell 3 episodes worth of story. I'm fine with
So
that.
the episode opens up. Joel's not dead. He is very badly injured.
It looks like it hurts.
Ellie has got him into a house where she's trying desperately to find something that could sew up his wound.
Right.
And there's a moment where Joel tells her, "You have to leave. Leave me here," because he's trying to jog it into her head or shake it into her that you have to go find Tommy. I'm done. There's no way I'm coming out of this. And in his perspective, he's not wrong. Like,
he's looking for any way to give up at this point.
well,
he's
yeah,
done.
and he
He's
doesn't
given up
want
on living. He's given
Ellie
up on everything.
to die with him. Ellie has this moment where she has to make the decision about whether or not she's going to come back and help him or if she is going to leave him. The reason why I disagree with everything you said was because Ellie, in that moment, flashes back to, like, I wanted to know where she came from. I wanted to know
QZ.
where she, like, her origin story about how she
Military
got going.
brat.
I wanted to know where she got the bite from. I wanted to know how it came to be, like what the story behind the bite was.
You know where I knew where the bite came from? She got bit.
That doesn't tell you anything.
Nope, but it didn't do anything to the story.
It did do everything
It didn't
to the
build her
story.
character to me. It didn't change anything about
But it
the
absolutely
way I
did.
thought about her, the way I felt about her. I'm like, okay. Like, the story was predictable. It was, like, the coolest part was the arcade and seeing Mortal Kombat 2. Like, I thought that was pretty cool. I wish I had that.
The whole mall sequence was amazing.
And
when
even-
she stood at the top of the railing, when
I don't
Riley
think
turned all the lights
that
on.
style of mall didn't exist at that time period.
Of course it did.
2003?
Yeah, of course it did. That's when we
Barely
were
any
all at
arcade.
the mall.
There's barely any arcades.
No, that's when arcades were in their peak.
No.
Yeah,
The peak
home
was like in the
consoles
90s.
hadn't got to the point where they are
absolutely
now.
weren't. Wasn't PS2 out?
Yeah, PS2. That's
Yeah.
not like we're at here with 4K in our living rooms with like
No,
HD televisions.
I was like, well, the time thing. I was like, okay, I like seeing them all. I like watching dead malls. I like seeing that whole storyline of a society that we built on this is crumbling. I like that.
The whole set they built to tell you the mall story was incredible.
That was cool.
The way they made like the aesthetic. I even caught the Easter egg where they were at the carousel, and in the distance you saw it flickering. It was GameStop.
Yes,
and
I saw that
it was a
too.
little bit
Yes.
of like paying homage to like the
That's a
homage.
big-
Homage is it
Homage.
homage?
I'd say homage, but it's either one.
It's paying respects to the video game and the origins of Last of Us, and I was like, I didn't miss that. I saw it.
No, and I
it was
like
just
that.
a little nugget that I
They're
was
a
like
big
paying
part of them
attention
all.
to.
I don't know. I don't want to sit here and then I know like you're critiquing me. Think I hated this episode. I think it was just unnecessary. I think like again 9 episodes and one was a pure filler of something that we didn't need until probably later. Because let me tell you, I'm guessing that the game The Last of Us was out prior to the DLC and didn't smack Ellie's story in the middle of the game because you had the whole game.
Yeah.
So it could have been, you know what? Make it 10 episodes and or like have a half episode or an extra. Let's say that.
That was the part where I said I don't disagree.
Yeah.
That was like, we
Yeah.
have 9 episodes. We have a lot of story to get to. And the DLC was kind of injected in this season. And I'd like to know why they thought
Yes,
they needed
what
to put it in.
possessed them to do that?
where it wasn't like maybe. But I know the answer. It's because it gives context to Ellie and her past and her history and the relationship she had with this one girl named Riley. And I was like completely sold on their relationship and like their friendship and the feelings they had for each other. And I felt in that moment where they both got bit and you saw their two polar opposite reactions, where Ellie is like just rage incarnate and Riley is just kind of accepted her fate and just wants to be able to enjoy her last couple minutes or hours with Ellie and just be together. The difference between the two of the reactions was
Well,
really
it
good.
was like that was a fit reaction for Ellie and what we've learned about her.
Exactly.
You know, I don't think that she was going to take it like, but before she obviously learned that she was immune, what do you do at that point? You're done.
Right.
So, and Riley's like, oh, easy way out.
Just
wait it out.
acceptance.
Just accept it. I mean,
But I
obviously
like how
I'm
she
not in
said,
that situation.
We fight to the end. Like, I'm not going to take the easy way out. I'm going to sit and I want to spend every last minute
No,
I
I'm
have
going to turn
with you.
other motherfuckers.
Like,
That's what I'm going to do.
I want to be with you in the last couple minutes I have, and I thought that was beautiful.
Now I'll never know what Ellie did when Riley turned and she didn't. What happened?
That is the part where I'm glad they didn't show. Not everything has to be on screen.
So if you're not going to give me everything, don't give me any of it.
I guess
you told
agree
me
to
the story.
disagree.
You gave me the story, and you painted a beautiful picture. We're going to ride it out to the end. We love each other, and then, we're back to it. Cool. I'm glad they wrapped it back up with Joel, and she's now playing medic on the side of the field. And I would have rather watched Joel bleed for 45 minutes and her digging through the house.
So there is a part of the episode to me that, like, to agree with you about how it wasn't to me as good as the other
Oh,
episodes.
hallelujah.
Where-
Let's do this.
Okay, so the action sequence at the end, I thought could have been done much better.
In the Halloween store?
Oh my God. Okay, so instead of getting what we got, just follow along with me.
Okay.
Okay. Ellie and Riley are having the same exact interaction that they were having in the episode, except the way that Riley dies and Ellie gets bit is in the moment when they're being the most vulnerable with each other. You hear in the background the clicker, maybe like a second or two before, and it runs through the room and literally just tackles Riley and rips her to pieces. And Ellie, in a fit of rage, trying to get into that, and she stabs the clicker just like she did, except in like its last ditch effort for survival, it reaches back and scratches her arm or bites her arm, and that's how she died. But the idea that like they had line of sight on the clicker, it presented itself where they weren't caught too much off guard.
Made a noise.
Riley had a gun. She's been trained for weeks, apparently,
3
by the
weeks.
Fireflies. She knows how to use it. Just shooting 3 shots, not where you're supposed to shoot clickers. And 20 years into this, you know how to fucking kill a clicker. Everyone knows how to kill them, except she just does the, like, 3 shots, misses, I think, 2 of them, hits it in its, like, a fucking abdomen, and then runs as if she doesn't have a means to defend herself. And the closer it gets, the better opportunity you have to hit it right in the fucking forehead with a fucking shot. You're gonna run away, and then you do this thing where like it catches you and like hits you, and you fall to the ground. And no, your adrenaline's not pumping to the part where like you're gonna get right back up and move because your body's in fight or flight. You're just gonna lay there and do this like thing, this dazed thing where it's
Take me.
yeah, and then it puts Ellie in a situation, and the gun goes flying. Oh no, we have to go get the gun, like we've seen a million times in like every movie that ever exists when a good guy's trying to kill a bad guy.
Let me tell you, we've never been in the situation of clickers or zombies. Headshot's usually the way to go.
And you had line of sight.
It was clear open shot.
And it wasn't even moving that fast. Remember when they came out of the hole, they shot out of a cannonball?
Different story now.
This one was kind of walking a little bit kind of like a Walking Dead
Figuring
one.
itself out.
It was
Like,
like
where am I?
jogging
Yeah.
to them. I just pop, right, right in the head a couple times.
Trained.
And you go,
Since birth.
this is why I joined the Fireflies. This is why. But they had to kill Riley. I just think it could have been done way better than what we actually got.
I could always take another body getting ripped open.
I did love actually after they got bit where they had time to sit together and like enjoy each other's company before they thought they were both going to die. That's cool, I guess.
Yes.
The action sequence by itself was the only thing that kind of was like, okay, we're just going to do the thing that every movie and show's done since the beginning of time, where the protagonist can't shoot to save their fucking life. They
Like
get knocked off their
stormtroopers.
balance. Yeah, they're stormtroopers. The gun goes flying in a different direction.
So
and
far, just enough out of reach, can't get it.
that was the one thing in the
I
episode
agree.
to me where it kind of like took me out of the immersion, where it was just, it could have been done so much better, where Riley didn't have a chance to get to her gun. It just fucking blitzed her into the room, took her out, ripped her head off like the fucking bloater did, and then Ellie, while she's being killed, has to grab the gun and maybe shoot it in
that
its head or
sounds great.
something. And then she
anyone
has
out
to
there
sit
listening?
and look at Riley's dead body, like just laying there, and she also got bit.
Waiting
thinking
to turn or
she's gonna
die.
wait, and she lays down with her,
Yep.
maybe waiting to turn because that was her person.
Then wakes up next day, never happened.
And then she wakes up and she's like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, it hasn't gotten worse.
Well, you,
and
sir,
then
we just
go
wrote a
back.
good episode. And in our dreams, that was episode 7.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this series is an S. This episode will not knock it off its pedestal, and I know that. But I can hate and be upset about a poor episode.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you are absolutely entitled to feel that it wasn't everything you wanted it to
Nope.
be. 1,000%.
They're dragging out the story. I want more clickers. I want more attacks. I want more of like, I want him to get somewhere for Christ's sake. Like, go do something.
Well, wait a minute. They
Either
went to
you
Kansas
live,
City.
you
They
live in
did
the
Kansas
town,
City.
or you find the Fireflies. By the way, I'd be a Firefly, hands down.
They went to
I don't like
Wyoming.
this
They
government,
found
but-
Tommy.
Great.
We're getting progress the whole way.
6 episodes of it.
No episode. Yeah, in a 9-episode season, we've had so much
And now you
progress.
took this one and just threw it in the trash. Be like, oh, here's a freebie episode.
I definitely
Let me just
agree-
pick the DLC that we came up with after the game that's telling a compelling story and has great characters, and let's just throw in somebody that we're never going to see again. We didn't even get the complete story of it, and nothing came from that episode.
Yeah.
Nothing.
I'm definitely not mad
I was
at
more
you.
concerned if Ellie could sew, because then I was like, that's a skill I should probably learn. Like, I don't know. Episode. Whatever.
That was episode 7 of The Last of Us, and we will be back next week to see how episode 8 kind of brings us back
Better.
to the main story.
Jump me
and
some time. He's
how we're
healed
going to
up.
go into the penultimate episode of really the whole season.
Right. What are you going to do?
Yeah, we
But
have
they
2
didn't lose me.
episodes.
I will be
Show
there
me.
next week.
Let us know what you thought about the episode in the comments below, and we will see you next week.